This is my capstone project slash internship. Hello, I'm Gabe Garnett, a current Jonathan Law senior. I'm undecided on going to Lincoln Tech in the fall for welding. My project slash internship was about welding and learning the basics of it. I chose welding because it's a fun trade to learn and helpful skill to have. My career choice was welding and still is, but I'm looking into HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. My expectations going into the internship, I wanted to learn the basics of welding and learn what it's like to be a welder. I wanted to learn how to use the welding equipment, and then learn to deal with real life situations like working with real people and customers, and then learn how to be very patient with my work and just welding. It's a lot of things you learn. You have to be patient, and I messed up a lot starting, so I definitely had to learn to be patient. And then learn to fail and retry a lot. My accomplishments during the internship, I learned something every day because every job was different from the other one. I learned how to use a welding machine and then use the welding machine to weld things. I learned how to be patient with my work and even work with others, like different welders and different bosses. And then I got a job for the summer out of it, maybe even a future career. Challenges of my internship was learning all the equipment. For welding, there's a bunch of different things like MIG, stick, and TIG. So I had to learn a bunch of different ways to weld. Actually, when I got to go up to Lincoln Tech to visit, they had a bunch of welding machines that were online. So it's like a computer VR-based thing. So I got to do that. I didn't take any pictures, but it was pretty cool. I went up with Brady McCourt to actually do that. I saw his thing yesterday. But we did that, and it was pretty cool, learning all the different ways to weld through VR. Trying to remember all the different ways you can weld and having to remember each step for that different type was pretty difficult, remembering all those things, especially at the start. And then having to create situations to fix a problem, seeing if the idea would work. We went and fixed you'll see in the next slide, I went with my buddy Brandon to go fix a person's rail guard on their front porch, and he kind of made me figure it out how to fix it, even though he knew how to because he's a welder, but he made me like figure it out and learn through the process of the angles and everything. So, and then working with different welders and just trying to learn their style of welding because everyone is different. Everyone is different with the way they weld. So, learning with whoever I was working with that day, it was a little weird, just getting into that. And then getting the 75 hours done. That's the hard part too. But my responsibilities was doing anything that was needed / asked by the welder I was working with. So like cleaning up any messes left behind, anything they wanted done, I did. I put things away into the truck, making sure everything was nice and neat. I actually have a picture of that, but I didn't put it on the presentation. But and being able to be teachable and have a good attitude. That was the one thing a few people told me with. They said like in the future, especially working in the trade, if you just have a good attitude and you could be teachable, you can make it pretty far. Some skills I learned, the basics of welding, and then how to use the welding machine. I learned that. That was honestly one of the hardest parts to do. And then learning all the ways I can weld, and that too, remembering it all. Like I would go home and study, just watching YouTube videos, how to learn about it. And I learned how to work with new people, and I learned how to fail. That was the one big thing, Brandon taught me. He failed a lot when he first started welding, so it was a huge thing. So I had to get used to failing, and it does suck. It just the reoccurrence of doing the same thing over and over. So I had to learn how to deal with that. Actually, that's the fence too. It was broken and rusted down here, and they just made me figure out. We welded it here, but. What this internship has done for my future, it helped me see that there's a lot to learn and still figure out with the rest of my life. It was only a few weeks, but it's pretty crazy how much I saw like with welding and what they do. It was pretty cool, and then it set me up for success if I decide to go into welding school and become a welder. I don't really know yet if I'm going into Lincoln Tech fully, because I'm working for Patrick Renz. He owns an HVAC company over the summer. Actually, he hired me through the internship, and then I'm gonna have a full-time job out of high school right after I graduate. So that's pretty nice. So I'm gonna figure out over the summer if I want to work for him still or just go to welding school. But it was really nice meeting him through the thing too. Any questions?
Yes. Oh my God. Well, exciting that you have a job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So that was obviously through networking and through this experience of
Yeah, just through people that I know and the people I worked with.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's like all we could dream for any student is to make a relationship with somebody and wind up with something after graduation. So that's fantastic. What made you decide to do welding? Because obviously HVAC is on your radar, but like what drew you to welding to begin with?
So I work at where Chris Mallon, he works now
Mm-hmm.
too. I work at Maddie's too, and a bunch of people kept asking me like, why didn't I do an internship there? I'm like, I'm not that big into cars. It's just not my thing, but I could if I wanted to. And then my dad, he's a contractor, so I go into contracting. And my brother, he works on cars too. So like, there's so many things I could do, but I chose welding just because it always intrigued me. Just the way they do it. You know, if you ever watch a video of it, it's really cool. And it's a really cool skill to have, and especially when you get older in the trade and you can make a lot of money doing it. So that was a huge thing for me. But then I also got introduced to HVAC, which is a bunch of things in HVAC. You know, there's some between heating, there's cooling, and then you make metal, you press metal. You do the same thing in welding too, but it's a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But I could make the same and just not work as hard too. That's the thing, you know. I could work, you know. I could probably build up quicker in HVAC than I would in welding, but welding I chose it just because like it's so cool to me. And then my sister's boyfriend Brandon, uh, he does it too, and like he really got me into it too. Just being around him, seeing what he does, I thought that's why I really got into welding.
It sounds like the trades are something that kind of like are ingrained in your life, and so you've
Hmm.
seen it, you've been exposed to it, so that's pretty great.
Yeah, pretty much my whole life.
I was gonna say, I think just talking to somebody, there's like an emerging gap. Did you mention?
Probably.
About like somebody just said this to me, that there's a gap between like older tradesmen, so
Mhm.
guys who are in their late 50s, 60s who are getting out. No, Miss Mercaldi had to get a plumber, and she was talking to the guy, and he was in his like early 30s, and he was saying people his age that don't exist in the trades, that it's like all older, and he's
Mhm.
on like the younger end, so it's just like really kind of like need area,
Yes.
and people can't get.
It's a huge thing. Like Patrick Renz, he's probably I'm guessing around 50. I didn't ask him, but
Yeah.
he's a bit older. But he said he was just looking for a kid who's young and has a good attitude when it comes into it. I'm like, I'll go into that fully learning like that.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of those guys are getting older now. He even told me, he's like, he goes, welding's a good trade, but once you get older, like, how you gonna weld in your 60s, you know, all those
Yeah.
different things. So,
Need to be like-
but you could do HVAC, you know, until you're older. So that really opened my eyes to it too.
You'll be versatile if you have
Yeah.
all those different skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I guess my second follow-up question is just in the welding sphere, like what's the most complex thing that you were able to weld during your time at your?
Probably, well, the hardest thing for me was when I first started welding. So everything at the start was super hard. Like no matter what I did, even if it was easy to like other
Yeah.
people, it was still hard. Like I welded like a little a flare on a trailer to the trailer to keep it under the. I don't know if you ever seen on like trailers. There's a tire flare over it. I had to weld that back on, and that was like super weird to me just because it was something new. But probably the hardest thing I did was honestly, it wasn't even real welding. It was that VR we did at Lincoln Tech. That was by the far the hardest thing I got to do because the thing right after it tells you exactly what you did wrong, exactly how you did it, where you went wrong. It grades you and everything. It was crazy actually. But like, I think VR welding is harder than real welding. I swear to God, it was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. Cause I was like, it's just huge. Like it's a real welding helmet with a VR inside of it, and then you're holding the stick, and you're just seeing it all in VR, but like you're doing nothing in real life. So it was so weird.
That is crazy.
But then like real welding, probably the hardest thing I welded was we were building yeah probably did. Yeah, we were building a table at Brandon's house. He was building this roller table, and welding it was so hard just because the metal it melts really fast, so you have to weld it the right way. It's aluminum welding. It's really hard to do. He was trying to show me how to do it. I kind of got some of it, but not really. He did most of it. But it's super hard to do because it melts so fast, and if you don't weld it right or quick enough, and like don't let it attach, it just won't go well. So that was pretty hard for me.
And my last follow-up is, we had talked when we started this like idea that you had wanted to weld for your truck, but that little issue. If you got a truck back, like when you get your next truck, do you think you now have the skills to weld what our like original plan was?
So I actually have a new truck now.
Okay.
It's outside.
Okay.
I've been thinking about it, building one. I'm probably gonna wait. If I do go to school, I'm definitely gonna do it during school because I guess they let you do projects there too while you go there.
Yeah.
So I do it during school.
Yeah.
But if I don't go to school, I'll probably just end up either buying one or
Yeah.
because
Did
it's
you feel more confident?
I probably
because
I
when we
would.
talked about it the last time, I feel like you're like, I wouldn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And now I feel like,
It would definitely I've got more information about what I would be
Yeah.
doing instead.
cool.
Gabe, I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
Like safety stuff, right? Because like this is a trade and there's usually like lots of like
Mhm.
steps to making sure that like you're doing everything safely and then like the product that you're putting out is also safe. So did you learn anything about that from
So
Brandon?
I was thinking about bringing in some stuff, but I didn't have it really all. So there's a welding jacket, you have your gloves, you have your welding helmet. Sometimes some guys wear like it's a piece of leather on top of their head, like a hat, but it's like very small, just to cover their hair and stuff, just in case fire gets up there or
Yeah.
sparks. I didn't use one of those at all because sparks don't go that crazy when you're doing little stuff, but.
Yeah.
That's all the things you usually wear. The pants I'm wearing a bit stronger, but a welding jacket and it's like a big, thick, heavy leather jacket.
Mhm.
It's like it's so like I can't. Those guys that go out. One thing, if I do go into welding, I want to go into the pipe field, and big like rigs and everything welding. But it's hot out there since it's like 80 degrees and we're in that jacket. It gets hot. So,
I bet.
but I do have some videos of me welding just in shorts and a t-shirt. Like, you do it normally too. But
I was gonna say our like OSHA safety would probably be like no,
Yeah.
but I totally understand what you're saying. So that's great. I just was curious what the safety protocols or if you felt like you learned a little bit about that stuff.
yeah, there's a bunch to it in welding. But if you're working under someone, you already have those safety protocols. But if you're working for yourself, most time people don't
Right.
even care. They just go into it.
All right, great job, Gabe.
Thank you.
Yeah.